Happy birthday, Leo. Happy birthday to those of you born at the end of this month. Welcome to your forecast for July 2021. The month starts off with Mars still in your sign, okay? Up until, let's see here, the 28th. Okay, the Sun moves into your sign on the 22nd. Mercury moves into your sign on the 27th. And Venus is still in your sign, though, up until the 21st. So, you're right out there. Even though the Sun isn't in your first house just yet, you're still, like it. You'll be like even more lit up when the Sun does enter your sign, your first house on the 22nd. But right now, you got a lot of attention going on with Venus and Mars. Okay, the love planets are in your first house, but you still have the month. It does start off with the Sun in Cancer, okay, where you have Cancer in your chart is your 12th house. This is the house of hidden things, hidden occurrences and actions taken by you or someone else. It's the house of solitude. It's your downtime. This is usually when people like recharge their batteries, okay? They take time to spend by themselves, and they do things that they enjoy doing that doesn't require another person. Okay, it's like your time to get away from other people before planets move into your first house and you're like on the scene again. You're all lit up and everything. Okay, so a lot of people, though, I mean, due to the quarantine and pandemic and everything, have been having an awful lot of downtime. So maybe you don't really need something like that. Okay, but having the Sun here in your 12th house does make you very active behind the scenes. Okay, and Mars was just here before it moved into your first house. So while Mars was in your 12th house, you may have been doing something behind the scenes. Okay, it could be a big secret, or maybe it isn't. You know, but you were active. You were busy doing something or other. If it's some kind of project or whatever. Now that Mars is in your first house, it's your time to release it on the public, you know, but if you haven't done that yet, you always have the opportunity to do that when the Sun moves into your first house. But again, Mercury will be in Cancer from the 11th on, okay, till it moves into your first house on the 27th. But that brief period, it will be in your 12th house, and like the first 10 days of the month, it is still in Gemini. Okay, so where you have Gemini in your chart is your 11th house of your friends and acquaintances and any kind of organization that you belong to. But it's your, like most sociable house, it's where you would normally go to hang out. It's socializing online even. So you're still in contact, let's say, even if it is just online, with your group of friends. Or you may even be out in person, physically socializing, visiting places that you maybe haven't been to because of the pandemic. So you're making up for lost time. So then Mercury does move into your 12th house from the 11th to, again, the 26th, before it moves into your first house on the 27th. So I always say Mercury in the 12th house is the big investigator. It's a time where you do a little bit of snooping. You know, it doesn't even have to be snooping, though. Maybe you are just trying to find out something so you can have a conclusion to something that's been bothering you. You know, information you don't have that you may possibly need. Even if it's just for personal reasons, you know, that you want to know something. So you could be inquiring about anything or anyone at that time. But again, like I said, it's behind the scenes. So not like a very big deal, but you know, you could be actually doing something or other with someone behind the scenes, okay? Because you got the love planets, Venus and Mars, in your first house at this time. So you have the Sun and Mercury in your 12th house. Maybe, you know, you don't want to spring this person on your friends or your family or whatever just yet. You know, maybe it's not that serious, or maybe it's just you don't feel like having everybody critique your choice of whomever at this time. You know how people are. They always have something to say about whatever. So you would be no different to them. They would just do whatever, do or say whatever in regards to your love life, okay? Or anyone. It doesn't even necessarily have to be romantic. Maybe you have a new friend in your life, you know, and you're spending a lot more time with them than you have been, let's say, with your usual group of friends, okay? And again, it does not have to be in person. You could just be on the phone with this person a lot more, just having a lot more conversations or contact with them. Okay, so having Venus and Mars, again, in your first house does make you, having Mars in your sign does make you a lot more aggressive than you would normally be. You're not really willing to put up with any kind of crap from anybody, but you're like that anyway, but especially now having Mars in your sign. Okay, makes you, you just can't do it. You couldn't do it if you tried. But having Venus here at the same time does act as a bit of a buffer area and puts a softening touch to whatever kind of, let's say, insult maybe you might be like throwing at someone, or news, or anything, any kind of conversation someone does not want to have with you, because you're like laying down the law. But having Venus here makes it a little bit softer, okay, your approach to just moving in. And you know, I always say, when you have Mars in your sign, you should have like a cup, a coffee cup, or a t-shirt that says "out of my way," because that's what Mars does. It helps you to put things the way they should be in your life. You know, put them back. A lot of times, once you get that all done and taken care of, somebody comes along and tries to undo it, right, after you went through all this work. So that's something somewhere down the line you might have to deal with. But for now, if things have not been going the way you would like them to go within your life, even so much as the way people treat you, you know, or do they take you for granted? Do they respect you? You know, this is the time to take care of all of those things. But if you are currently involved with someone romantically, this is a very, very romantic time. And if you aren't, it's still a very romantic time if you would like it to be, because it gives you a lot more opportunities to meet someone, or attract more people to you. That's what Venus really does. Is even just friends, though. Also, there's a new moon, first of all, in Cancer on the 9th in your 12th house. So there's some kind of new beginning going on in this area. So I would have to say, if you do have a new friend or a new romantic person in your life, that this would be the day that is acknowledged by the both of you, okay? Or just you know, in your mind you could be like, oh, that's right, now they're a really good friend, or they're whatever. Now, there's a full moon in Aquarius on the, let's see here, 23rd, where you have Aquarius in your chart as your 7th house of close friends and partnerships, business and or romantic. And 7th is directly across from your 1st house of Leo. Okay, so around that full moon of the 23rd is a time where, if things were not going the way you want them to within your close relationships, if it is romantic, or if it is business, or if it is just with a close friend, that is when all of this would come out. If you haven't been saying anything or voicing, you know, your mind about something you would like to change in this relationship, this would be the time that you would do that. Even if it doesn't come out all that well, you know, or maybe you just blurt it out or whatever, it's still, I don't think, going to be a very bad thing for either of you. You know, I think whatever it is that you have to say, this person might actually appreciate you being honest with them. And any kind of change, though, that you would want to make within that relationship, I don't think you're going to break it off with anybody, but you could also do that. You know, that's also a change. This is also a good time. I just have to mention this, okay? 7th house is the house of open enemies, okay? Sometimes when planets are here, Mars especially, when Mars is in Aquarius, okay, it's directly across from your sun and whatever planet you have in Leo. And these people tend to come out of the woodwork to push your buttons and just act up. You know, it's also the house of competition and competitors. But now that you have Venus and Mars in your first house, around that full moon, I mean, if you don't have anybody to, I don't know, I want to say take it out on, but you really don't. That's really not what this is, I don't think. But if you would like to use this full moon to put somebody in their place, you might want to do that with a competitor or a open enemy. And an open enemy is someone that you know, everybody knows you two don't like each other, you don't get along, okay? So, I mean, that's just a thought. You don't have to do it, I'm just saying, okay? So when Mercury moves into your first house, okay, into Leo on the 27th is when you are really, lots of communication going on to and from you. But you're initiating most of it when Mercury's in your first house. You get an awful lot of things done, though, too, at this time. It's almost like having Mercury in your third house where you're doing a lot of running around your own area, your own neighborhood. This would be one of those times where you're just doing something or other. I believe that you're contacting people maybe that you haven't been in touch with for a long time. On, let's see here, on the 21st, Venus moves into Virgo in your second house where you have the sign of Virgo, and Mars moves into Virgo on the 29th. So you have Venus and Mars again traveling together in your second house of how you earn your money and income. Now, Mars energizes this area into wanting to bring in more income or a new source of income or just trying to get money some way or other, but this is earning. This is how you earn your money. Okay, it's also any kind of investments that you have, though, and getting some kind of dividends or whatever from them. Okay, having Venus here, Venus is the attraction. Okay, attracts things to you. When it's in your first house, it attracts people to you. When it's in your second house, it attracts money or luxury objects or anything that's Venus ruled, like art or something like that, something beautiful. So these two planets here, I mean, you could be like on the receiving end of a really nice gift of some kind, you know, birthday. They could use your birthday as a reason for the gift, or just a because gift, whatever. But you could have a really nice, be on the receiving end of something pretty big. You know, it could be like a pretty big deal. I do have to mention that Jupiter is moving back into Aquarius on the, let's see here, the 28th. Where you have Aquarius in your chart is your 7th house. Okay, so Jupiter briefly moved into Pisces for like the past 2 months or so. Where you have Pisces in your chart is your 8th house. So you'll still have Jupiter there in your 8th house of Pisces for a few days, while Venus and Mars are in your 2nd house of Virgo. These are directly across from each other, the 2nd and 8th house, and they are money houses. So you're still on the receiving end. Having Jupiter in your 8th house makes other people's resources and money open to you, giving you the use of these very things. 8th house is many things. Okay. Just having Jupiter briefly here, it might not have done too much. It will move here fully at the end of December. Excuse me. So maybe you got a little bit of an idea of what it's like to possibly like be able to borrow things from people, especially like money or any kind of like, let's say, equipment of some kind, anything that you may need to borrow. Okay, now Saturn and Jupiter were traveling together in Aquarius, like all this time until that brief period where Jupiter moved into Pisces. So, excuse me. Jupiter and Saturn will be together again in Aquarius in your 7th house of close relationships. But when Jupiter did move away for that brief period, you got to experience what it's like just having Saturn in your 7th house of partnerships. So this might have opened your eyes in some way of what it's like to be in some kind of a partnership with, it could be a business partner, or a romance, or a close friend or something. It could have been an awful lot of responsibility on you, or so you feel, or this person is very restrictive, and you feel like they think you can't do anything right or something. You feel like they were picking on you all the time or whatever. Now that Jupiter's moving back here, it acts a little bit as a buffer area for this Saturn. But remember, it will move again at the end of December, and you'll be back with Saturn, just Saturn, in your 7th house. So enjoy it while you can with these two planets traveling together, because Jupiter brings an awful lot of opportunity for you to meet new people to form partnerships with. Okay, so might want to keep that in mind. Okay, so the best time to do something each month is when the moon is in your own sign, and the moon is in Leo on the 11th and 12th, and the best time to lay low is when the moon is in your opposite sign, and your opposite sign is Aquarius, and those dates are the 24th, 25th, and 26th. The best time for romance, recreation, creativity, fun, any kind of gambling or speculation, and anything to do with children is the 6th, 7th, 8th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. The best time for money is the 13th, 14th, 15th, 26th, and 27th. The best time for your career is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 30th, and 31st. And the best time for communication and travel is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 15th, 16th, 17th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. So I hope you enjoyed your astrological forecast for July. Have a wonderful birthday. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Check out my weekly forecast, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.